Ratchet, see what repairs are needed.
Let's get him up on his wheels.
Hey everyone, it's time again for another Ringingworm video, and I've got another character I talked about in the last video that I'm going to show you today. I'm going to do the review, and I've got an interesting background to kind of go along with it. So I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it with the background long term, but I figure at least for the interim it'll be kind of fun. I ordered this from eBay, and it's called extremesets.com. And as you can see, it's kind of a replica of Teletran 1 in the background. I'm pretty excited about that. Anyway, today we're going to review the MP-30 Cybertron Medic Ratchet from Takara Tomy. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know if it's going to be as long as the last one because it's almost, for the most part, except for the paint scheme, it's pretty identical to the Ironhide video that I just did. One thing that I want to talk about really quick too is if you noticed in the Ironhide video, I added some little effects and that type stuff. I'm going to try to do more of that. I think the Ironhide video is probably the best one I've done so far, so hopefully this one will adjust. The other thing that I noticed in the Ironhide videos, I'm going to try to keep my camera on the figure a little bit better. Sometimes when you're doing things on camera and you're doing things besides, it kind of gets off-centered, and I apologize for that. But like I said, I'm learning in this process. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started on the review of this particular figure. I'm also going to change how I do the reviews a little bit more too, because I don't want them to be generic like I see a lot of other people do. They go through the review and they show how they transform, whatever, and I'll do some of that stuff too. But I'm going to spend more time on this video talking about why I added these particular figures to my collection, because I don't collect as many Transformers as I do some of the other things. But I went to Salt Lake Comic-Con and I got kind of the bug, and they had a whole bunch of Masterpiece Transformers at some of the dealers there, and I decided to go after them, so that's what I'm going to do today. So anyway, this is Ratchet, and again, he doesn't transform too much different than Ironhide. Now, one thing I want to show before we get started, because I did this in the last video, if you look at his face, I don't like it at all on the box. I don't know why it's so much different in person than it is on the box, but at least when you see the initial picture, that was another reason why I had a harder time buying some of these figures. The other thing is too, when I started getting into the Masterpiece collectibles, one of the reasons why I collect Hot Toys and other things like that is because of the scale. Masterpiece, or Takara, has really done a good job lately of making their figures from MP10 on, making their figures scale really well with other figures. And then you have these third-party companies like Extreme Sets that really make your experience come alive with, like Teletran 1 here in the background. And I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm going to move this off to the side. Again, it's a Nissan Cherry Vignette, just like Ironhide was. The only difference between the two is obviously the paint scheme, and as far as the shape of him goes is this. Now, before I transform him, I just want to show you guys something. On this, when he goes into Optimus Prime's semi-trailer, this piece clicks down so he can fit in there, because otherwise he wouldn't fit in there very good. Same thing with Ultra Magnus. So he's pretty cool figure. Like I said, I like Ratchet and Ironhide just because the early parts of season 1 of the Transformers, they were so prevalent, and I really enjoyed those first cartoons. I actually just bought the entire season of Transformers, and by season 3 the animation really went downhill, and I didn't remember that a lot from my childhood, but it did, and they were still fun to watch because I rewatched them all. But Ratchet and Ironhide and some of the other characters that you're gonna see really stuck out to me more than any of the other characters. So just really quick, show you right next to Ironhide himself here. in his transform mode. As you can see, they're virtually identical in every way with the exception of the head. And I showed you in the last video, and I also showed a little clip of a little picture in my video of the toy version of Ironhide and how they kind of included that little face on there. And you might be able to see Ratchet's a little bit better, but you can see there's a face in his underneath his chest piece here in car mode, and I thought that was really cool because it's an homage back to the early G1 toys from when we were kids. And Ratchet comes with a whole host of accessories compared to Ironhide even. He comes with this little chest piece diagram, which I'll put into him because I usually have him with it in it anyway. But he comes with that goes in his chest piece, which I really liked. He comes with the same type guns as Ironhide. He comes with this piece like Ironhide. He has two wrenches, which he holds really nicely, and I'll show you with that in his hand later. He comes with this back piece again. This hand piece attaches so he can, I guess, be working on it. And then he's got this little fireball thing to make it look like he's actually hitting something with that laser beam. Just tons and tons of accessories. Some medical accessories, some rocket type accessories, all that type stuff. And like I was saying, the great part about Ironhide and Ratchet is how many things they come with. Now this sled that you're looking at right here is kind of again a tribute back to the old G1 cartoon toys. And if I can find a picture of him with this sled, I'll definitely show that in my video. But that's pretty much what this thing is here. Is it came in the original one? This fold down, this whole back part right here folded down, and it became kind of a motorized sled, and it had a seat in there, just like this little spot right here. And it was just part of the transformation, but not really a good representation of Ratchet or of Ironhide as far as the G1 toy goes. So he also comes with a secondary face, kind of like the Ironhide with his mouth open. Again, that stores underneath the sled. And that's pretty much what he comes with as far as accessories and whatnot. So I'm going to move the box off to the side so you can kind of look at him in front of the Teletran 1 setup that I've got here. And I really like that look, and if I ever do a collection video, I'll kind of show you how I have that displayed. It's not perfect, but I think it really adds to the overall look and feeling of the room. Now, if you look at the screen here on Teletran 1, he's got a Dalek right there in the corner, and he's got different images, whatever. Some of them which have nothing to do with the Transformers, but that's okay because, like I said, it just kind of gives you that overall feel of the cartoon in a background or a dioramic setting. So just like the last one, it's not much different. This back piece just pops up just like that. It's very easy. You can see his legs right there. His arms are right here. Head sits on top of there. Chest piece here, all that type stuff. So it's not overly complicated to transform. In fact, he's one of the easier Transformers that I have in my collection to transform. But it's, you know, this piece right here just accordions out, just like in the Ironhide. You gotta loosen things up a little bit, but it's pretty simple. These little tabs right here, just a reminder, excuse me, right here, you can barely see them, right there. Those just, they're going to end up clamping on to the body as a whole eventually. So, I mean, it just really comes loose pretty easily. The legs just kind of separate like so. I like to do the legs, well, actually I like to do the top first because it's pretty easy to do. You just pull this down, this arms come up to the side just like the Ironhide video that I did. It's again the exact same transformation. There is no difference in Ratchet and Ironhide. So the one thing that I'll just remind everyone of is, again, be careful when you're transforming these things, because they're Masterpiece collectibles, and there's a lot of parts in them compared to the old G1 toys. And because of that, so this comes up, the arm swivels around, and there you go. His arm's pretty much like that. You just got to be careful, because some parts feel like you're going to break it. And I'm sure if you force it a little bit too much, it might break. I haven't had any issues with that yet. But I'm just giving you a caution, because sometimes as human beings, we love to put more force onto things than is necessary, and what ends up happening is you end up spending 50, 60 bucks, 70 bucks, depending on where you get this particular item, and then you end up breaking it because you're impatient or you're trying to force something that wasn't supposed to be forced. So take your time. It's not a complicated transformation. Like I've said before, it's actually pretty simple. Sorry, I've done something right here. I'm doing something wrong here, because it shouldn't have so much of a... There we go. Just gotta force it. No, just kidding. Don't force it. But again, take your time. Make sure that you're doing it right. You don't want to do things wrong, because again, when we do things wrong, I was transforming my Skyfire the other day, and I was trying to force it into place, and I didn't break anything, but you can see how easily you could do that if that's the case. So just going back to his feet here, this, if you remember from the last video, just kind of pops out to where it's off-centered, and then it folds under, just like so. Not hard, not complicated. Then this piece right here just rolls around and locks into place like that, snaps into place, whatever terminology you want to use, and then that just wraps around and does the same thing. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So again, just really quick, this tire just kind of pops out like that, so it's sticking out from the wheel well, and then it rolls in like so. And then the fender, or whatever you want to call it right here, just rolls around and down, and then this just rolls back and flat like that. So pretty easy. The feet just roll around like so. Same thing on this side, just rolls around, and then there you pretty much have his feet. They're transformed. He's kind of in a sitting down stance. His little side fenders here, these just pop out, so I'll move his arms. And again, just be careful how you're doing some things here. Just, it comes out, it's just they tab into place, so it doesn't move or come out or anything like that. And then it just doesn't want to cooperate sometimes either. I think it'd be easier if I did this. There we go. Move that up to where his chest piece is like so. So one thing I don't like about this particular figure is you can see all the junk, because he doesn't have quite as dark of a windshield as Ironhide did. But anyway, this just pulls out once you move that up, as you can see right there, and on this side it just moves out. So it's pretty easy. If you go back here, you can see this how it goes. So you're just going to move his legs down. Obviously they're not facing the right direction, so you just twist them around to where they're facing the right direction. They just spin around pretty easily. You got to pull out on his legs a little bit, but not much, because you can see this little line right here. So if it's like this when you first do it, obviously that's not going to move, so you got to pull that down. Now the fenders here, they just slide up like so. Pretty simple. And then if you look back here again, there's just these little tabs right here that the tires are going to tab into right there like so. And I think it's kind of funny on this particular model of Transformer, whether it's Ironhide or him, but the tires kind of mimic butt cheeks to me, and I just think that's funny. So anyway, there is Ratchet. Let me move my camera up so you can see him better. If you can see some of the stuff that I have in the background, I apologize again. This is just kind of new for me using this Teletran 1 set. But I think you can still not see any of that stuff. But there he is. That's Ratchet. Now, the one thing I was talking about earlier is he's really cool because all you have to do is move his chest piece down, like so. Pretty simple. And then this just goes right, there's a little tab right, you can't really see it, so it's right there up against his windshield. Anyway, you just slide this in, and if you have fat fingers like me, you might have to have a little tool to make sure it gets up underneath that lip. But it's really not too difficult. There you go, I did it without anything. And then that just folds up. So now if you look at Ratchet now he's got that little kind of heart monitor that he had. And again, just if you look at his face, here I'll get really close to his face, compared to the box, and I'll bring the box in over here, he doesn't look anything like the box picture. I don't know why this particular face looks the way it does. It just bothers me, but when you see his face without the box, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good representation. So there he is, Ratchet. Now, I was saying before, just like Ironhide, he's got a couple of guns, and in the movie he uses both of them. But Ratchet's a doctor. I'm not going to have him, or a medic. I'm not going to have him. So you can see those tabs, and I'll show you, because the Ironhide video wasn't the best video, but if you look at his hand here, I was getting stuck right here on this hinge, and then right behind there is this line that his weapon tabs into, and then he holds it really, really nicely. Now, Ratchet, you can do a combination of things. I have him displayed in my collection with a ratchet, or with a wrench in his hand, like so, and he's looking at Optimus Prime in his repair bay, because Optimus Prime's standing in his repair bay like he's doing repairs on Optimus Prime. And the cool thing about Optimus Prime, because his chest piece lifts up, you can actually make him look like, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff in there. You can make him look like he's actually repairing. So there he is, holding the wrench, really cool. Now, if I want to use like this tool right here that I'm going to show you really quick. So if you're going to use this tool, for example, so obviously you can see there's no place to put that. Well, it's really kind of cool. So you just break this off, flip his hands around, pretty simple, not complicated, and then you just tab this in, and you could do it either way, either like with the tank up top or the tank underneath. I'm going to do it on underneath like that, and then you just attach this little thing. This little thing right here. Now, if Optimus Prime was standing right next to him, you could literally have that touching him, and it'd be look like he's soldering or working on Optimus Prime, and I thought that was pretty cool too. So there is Ratchet in his transformed state, so in front of Teletran 1. And like I said, so kind of some of the things that I want to talk about as far as when you're collecting, I think that for me, these videos are really talking about why these mean so much to us. I was talking to somebody the other day, and why collectors collect and all that type stuff is, these are the moments from our kids. I remember being 4 years old or younger watching the Transformers, and I remember my cousins, and we used to play with Transformers and do all this other type stuff. Just hours and hours of joy. And then we grew up, and there's always that saying is when I was a child, I acted like a child, I played with a child, I played with childish things, but when I became a man, I put childish things away. And here's the thing, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. My grandfather was born in the 30s, and his recreation consisted of hunting and fishing, and that guy would literally do that all day, every day. You fast forward to when my dad was a kid, they watched TV a lot, and my dad loves those old movies and TV shows when he was a kid, and he'll watch those over and over and over again. And for us in this generation, when I was born in the 80s, it's about cartoons and toys. And I mean, there's been shows like the Toy Hunter on, I think, A&E. I could be wrong about that channel, but you've got other shows like Pawn Stars, where they highlight people who bring in their toys from their childhood and how much they sell for it and so forth. And there's so many collectors out there. When you go to a comic book convention or a BotCon or whatever, there is tons of people looking for these things from our childhood. Now, one thing I want to point out is I did not have to put Ratchet's Autobot logo on his arm. In the cartoon, he doesn't have it. I actually prefer him having it on his left shoulder, just like Optimus Prime. That's why I put that on there. Now, you don't have to do that. You can do just the Red Cross, so to speak, or you can do that. There's really no right or wrong. Now, one thing I like better about Ratchet is because his body's all white. When you look at these fender flares, I don't have as big a problem as I had with it with Ironhide. But because I don't think it's as noticeable as it was with Ironhide, because Ironhide was gray, and then he had gray legs, and then he had red boots, and he had red hips. This one has red, kind of mid pelvic area, white, but when you look at him from the side, he's white almost all the way up, and I don't have that problem. And then it ties the red in with that little red stripe, so I don't really have a problem with that. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share this video with you. I hope you liked it today. I'll get this put together and sent out as quickly as possible. But if you like the content, I am really getting better at these videos. I promise. I hope you can see that. I'm trying to take a little bit more time to make sure that they're a little bit more accurate. But if you like these videos, please like and comment below. If you comment on and give me feedback on what you like and what you don't like, I will definitely take that into consideration when I'm putting these things together, these videos together, because I really do want to improve. So I'm all about feedback. If you want to share that with me, that'd be great. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that little bell icon so you get notifications when I post new videos. Make sure you share it with your friends if they're into the same thing.